This is the continual evolution of the East Coast beat. It is Saturday, about 12:05 in the afternoon. It's raining, as the phone said it would. It was a harder rain. It's not one of the hardest, but it's been a hard rain, and it's been on and off. The streets were flooded when I went for my morning walk to the market. I didn't take Mermaid with me this time because it was cold and wet, and I think even she kind of was agreeing to that. So I went solo, took an umbrella. uh, Got a friend that's, how did they say? When you're on the adventure, it sometimes or often doesn't feel like an adventure until after. So, in my mind, she's having an adventure. I mean, it takes a certain kind of person to want something, and it takes a certain kind of person to actually get that thing done. You know what I'm saying? So, ain't no sunshine when it's on. Ah. I swear it's been raining all day. As I said, but I think of things, love. They say we need the rain. As I sit inside tonight, I know a few things about the wet and cold. In my life, I've even felt zero below. Hey, oh, by the time the sun shall shine, I'll know. So, things that have happened in the rain. I remember one time I was in the army and I was sleeping on a couple of boxes of MREs, which are the pre-packaged meals ready to eat, and they come in these hard cardboard boxes, and I would sleep on them sometimes. We Rather than set up a cot, you know what I'm saying. And then one night I look up and I see, I think it was Warren looking down on me, and the rain and the wind had gotten so bad that it had actually lifted the side of our tent up. So our tent was falling down in the rain. And I was wearing boots and my pants, and I went shirtless. And we set up the tent. It took a little bit, and it was strange because it was one of those grandfather moments for me in the military where I was living a story that I had heard told so many times by other vets about one night this happened and then one night it happens. So was it real? Was it a dream? What did it teach me? It taught me those things that, um, you know, army coffee and filterless cigarettes and carrying, you know, equipment that our grandfathers took into World War II on our backs as we went to the desert, step by step. You know, it taught me that if the army had a mission. If you don't know what the mission of the army is, the mission of the army is to defend the United States, to defend the Constitution of the United States, which is the living will, the living strength of the people. And it's so we are actually supposed to. They say if a war ever happens, the Marine Corps is expected to serve overseas in the war, and the United States will call back its soldiers to defend the country. So I was in the U.S. Army overseas. So, but we went to Kuwait in between the wars, and nothing happened. Um, and came back, and before my battalion had been sent to Kuwait as a rotation, it was monitoring the border between Czech and Slovakia, or Czechoslovakia. I guess during that, right before I showed up, or right as I was showing up, Czechoslovakia had separated into two separate countries, and before that point, we had been monitoring the border, the Czechoslovakian border. I don't know exactly what part. They never really told me because by the time I got there, that wasn't our mission anymore. So that was what they used to do. And they told me that they would spend 6 to 9 months doing that. So I was in a true field unit. And I was a field cook. I was a Bravo series cook, da 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 da. I remember there was this one guy in cook school. He was a tall, skinny guy, and he smoked cigarettes, but he was like the third fastest runner. So one of the older cooks used to say, "Hey, if he can smoke cigarettes and still smoke me out, smoking in the military is another term for physically exhausting PT, or physically exhausting somebody by giving them strenuous physical training like PT and push-ups and stuff like that. He was saying if he smokes and he can still smoke me in the run, what can I say about that? You know what I'm saying? And I remember at one point that guy had word had come out that he had been selected to go he had been selected to go special forces. Part of going special forces is that you go airborne. So he was going to be in airborne special forces. There were ways in basic training. There were ways where we would say certain things. I asked my cook buddy that had done prior service at one point, do you say it like that in the army? Like we would say airborne ranger. Yes, they are airborne paratroopers, but to be a ranger means you're airborne. So we don't really say airborne rangers in the army, or we don't say airborne special forces, because in order to be special forces, you have to be airborne qualified. You know what I'm saying? But there's airborne and then there's air assault. So you could say I'm an airborne trooper, or you could say air assault trooper, or Like, my people were armored cavalry, and I was a field cook in the armored cavalry, so I was with the headquarters company, and I drove a 5 ton, and I usually had either a kitchen or occasionally a big old thing of water behind me, depending on how we were setting up. Usually a kitchen, because we would set up back in the 90s. There's a thing called bouncing. And bouncing is when you pick up where you're at and you set up somewhere else because either you think the enemy is coming your way, or that there's a better spot, or you're gonna move the next day. So because we were armored, so we could move so many miles a day. We were scheduled to move so many miles a day. Armored cavalry, I don't really think. Uh, Armored cavalry is supposed to move in front of the main um, battle formation, so we were supposed to be moving every day. So working with headquarters, either we would have to ship our food out, which is one thing that we did a lot of in 5 ton trucks, which is what I drove, but I didn't do this because I was normally working the kitchen itself. But we would either have to ship our food out to you, but if our truck left at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, you'd have lunch by 6 or 7 if it took an hour to get to you. You know what I'm saying? So we would ship our food out to you, or if you were close enough to headquarters, you would come and eat with us. But tactically, we didn't normally serve too many troops at the formation because we weren't really supposed to be obvious where we were at. You know what I'm saying? Because the guys we were going against were gonna have big shit that could really do a lot of damage quick. And like they used to tell us, we were like field cooks and mechanics and truck drivers. And they would tell us, oh, when they send the people for you, they're not going to send their field cooks to come get you. They're going to send their top of the line infantry to come hunt you guys down. So, it's always good to know the odds. It's like, yeah, that's why I used to say when I used to shoot at the range, I'm good. I'm like, I can hit every target, which means if I'm good enough to hit every target within 75 to 200 meters, if I can hit every target pretty quick, that means that the infantry guys are going to be even better. So if I have to pop my head up, it better be worth the shot. You know what I'm saying? And so I used to think like that. Like, that's why one of the classes that they taught me in basic training specifically was how to surrender. And I told them I didn't join the army to surrender. But they told me, hey, and then like I said, if they're sending their top forces, or if they're sending elite airborne infantry to come fuck with a bunch of field cooks, and that have been up for 24 hours, 20 hours for the last 33 days, and a bunch of mechanics who are either up making noise so you can sneak up on them easy, or they're asleep. You know what I'm saying? It's like we were all around the headquarters. You know what I'm saying? We were supposed to provide security for headquarters. And that's the whole thing, is if we're cooking and making noise and the mechanics are working on a tank and making noise, and they can just walk up on us. You know what I'm saying? And nowadays, with drones and everything, I can imagine how scary it would be trying to keep your headquarters safe when all it takes is a pickup full of drones and a couple of guys with visors and Nintendo joysticks to just bomb you from 6 miles away. They just send the drones out. Once they find out where you are, they just send the drones out. I mean, I have no concept of what modern warfare. Even at the time, I had no concept of modern warfare, but I have no concept of modern warfare. But I do know the constant fear of, if I'm just doing my job as a cook, I'm out in the open at some point. If somebody's watching me, I can't see them watch me. So are they going to hit me? Are they going to hit the guy next to me? Are they really waiting to see who the fucking NCO is? Are they just waiting to see they want to see the Joker smoking cigarettes, and the sniper is a hardcore, and he's like, that's the guy I'm going to take out first. You know what I'm saying? The fucking leaning, smoking and joking in private, I'm gonna fucking hit him as a fucking spot for everybody to know, you know. Or like I said, I don't know. I mean, I was busy doing a job. I wasn't laying in a field, you know, with twigs coming out of my hair, you know, looking through a scope trying to find a sniper. I was fucking flipping French toast and making coffee and, you know, oh, gravy, you know what I'm saying? Because I was eating what we were cooking. So spaghetti night was definitely special for me, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I mean, yes, you know, I had a juvenile record going into the military, but I wasn't violent. I mean, I wanted an if the U.S. Army had told me, Oliver, we found an enemy and we're gonna strap you up and we're gonna class you up real quick because I mean the army can train you to do anything in a short ass time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of jobs are simple enough to where if you can catch on, you can get busy quick. So, we're gonna class you up, we're gonna train you up, and we're gonna, give you an enemy. And thou shalt not kill, thou shalt honor thy mother and father, thou shalt make it safe for your sister's kid to play in the front yard without worrying about some out of his head motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And nobody doing anything about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's a hard world. I know that we all have our superstitions and our beliefs and our cause and effects. And, if I'm too kind, I'm going to pay. If I'm too kind, they'll pay. If I'm too kind, my daughter will pay. I mean, some people believe that we can only do so much for free, but nobody has enough money to buy somebody else's freedom, so then they suffer for them, you know what I'm saying? I understand that mentality at times, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, if the army had said, Oliver, you have an enemy, forget the thou shalt not, you have an enemy, I would have engaged that enemy with everything that I had, which, to be honest, was nothing. Nothing except promise of a better tomorrow and the fact that I absolutely loved being a soldier. From the minute I hit basic training until the minute they let me go in South Carolina, it was nothing but beauty, absolute beauty and grandeur. And if I ever think in my life what is the feeling of glory, I would have to say if you've ever listened to um, a really thunderous song, like a classical opera song or with a very good singer, glory is feeling the rise, no longer feeling any limitation to your body. And when you're in the military, you do and see things, and you understand why men wear ribbons and medals, because that man might have done something that maybe 10,000 men, other soldiers, have done too. But out of the millions of men, I don't know what it's like to slam dunk a ball, during an NBA Finals game. But I know what it's like to wake up at, 3 o'clock in the morning to get breakfast on for a bunch of hungry soldiers in Germany that are, getting ready to go to war. Glory. When I hear certain songs, I know what it's like to feel, you know, the ride of the Valkyries. Um, you know, I can understand. The East Coast beat.